Hello, my peeps. This Algebra Nation video will cover page 94, problem number 3.
$12,000 that Katie earned last year from giving tennis lessons, which is a lot of money, but she was working hard, so she got it. She invested part of her earnings at 3% simple interest and the rest at 4% simple interest. In 1 year, she earns $440. How many dollars did she invest at the 3% simple interest? Well, the way that interest works is that you put in some money, you're investing some money, and that money that you're investing earns interest. You're actually getting money for investing. You're earning money on top of what you put in. So how much money you earn is determined based off of your interest rate. The higher the interest rate, the more interest, the more money you're going to get from that investment. So the way that it works, the amount you get in interest, you can think of this kind of like as a bonus. This is extra money that you get just by investing. So the amount that you get in interest is equal to the amount invested, so the amount of money that you actually invest times the interest rate. So the higher that value is, the higher your interest rate, well, you're multiplying by something bigger and bigger, the more money that you earn in interest. So if I invest $10 at 3% interest, I'm going to earn $3 in interest. That's just what simple interest means. So let's see what this question is giving us. We know that we have $12,000. Katie earned $12,000. So she has $12,000 that she's going to invest. She's got $12,000 to invest. Some of it she's investing at 3% interest. Some of it she's investing at 4% interest. Now, why she would invest in lower interest, but she is. So out of that $12,000, some of it is invested at 3% and some of it is invested at 4%. So let's think about what that means. Out of the $12,000 that she has, some of it is being invested in 3%, some is being invested at 4%. Do we know how much is going to 3 and how much is going to 4%? No. So let's call X the amount invested at 3% and Y the amount invested at 4%. So the total amount invested is equal to the amount invested at 3% plus the amount invested at 4%. So she's got her $12,000 and she's saying, all right, I'm putting some of that money at 3%, I'm putting the rest of it at 4%. Well, the total amount that she invests at 3% plus the total amount of money that she invests at 4% is the total amount of money that she has to invest. So this equation isn't talking about how much interest she's gaining off of it. It's just saying how much is she putting in? How much is she going to actually put in? What can interest be gained off of? Well, the $12,000 is broken up to some of it being invested at 3% and some at 4%. So let's look at the next part of this question. We know that we have 3% interest for part of it and 4% interest for the other part. So X is going to be invested at 3% and Y is going to be invested at 4%. In 1 year, she earned $440 in interest. How much did she invest at 3%? So the amount that she invested at 3%, what did we call that? The amount invested at 3%, well, that was what we called X. So ultimately, we're trying to solve for X. We're trying to figure out that value for X. Can we do that yet? No, but we can set up another equation to help us get there. Let's use the information that we're given. Well, remember we said in the beginning, the way that interest works is the amount that you get in interest is equal to how much you invest times your interest rate. So for Katie, what is she going to get in interest? The amount Katie earns in interest is equal to what? Well, she's earning interest off of the 3%, and she's also earning interest off of the 4%. So the amount that she earns in interest, the total amount that she earns in interest, is the amount from investing at 3% plus the amount of interest from investing at 4%. Well, how much interest does she get by investing at 3%? The amount of interest that you earn is the amount of money that you put in times your interest rate, right? The amount of money that you get in interest is the amount of money that you earn times your interest rate. So how much money does she invest at 3%? Well, the amount of money that she invests at 3% is X. What's the interest rate for that amount? 3%. X times 0.03. The total amount of interest that she gets from the money that she's investing at 3%. That money, that X that she's putting in, from that X, she's going to earn X times 3% interest. 3%, remember, can also be written as 0.03, which is how we want to write it when we're dealing with interest problems. Now, how much interest does she earn off of the money that she puts in at 4%? Well, she puts in Y dollars to invest at 4%. So the amount of money that she's going to earn is Y times 0.04. The amount of money that she invests times the interest rate that she gets. So the total amount that she gets from interest, or just those two added together. Some of the interest comes from investing at 3%, some of it comes from investing at 4%. Well, the total amount that she earns in interest is what? That was given to us. That's $440. The total amount she's going to earn is $440. Well, what do we have here?
Well, what do we have? We have an extremely long video that will take up too much room, and I'll be denied. And then you'll tell me minus 10. So we're going to call this the end of problem 3, part 1, and then there'll be another video for problem 3, part 2. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.